45 seconds of two freaking logos, as usual.
I feel cursed. There were a few videos in a row that weirdly didn't start with you criticizing the logos, and then starting with Cars 3, literally every video since then has had this.
Darkness instantly tells me there's going to be some narration in this bitch.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder,
Narration.
Sinning a movie for doing something you do.
This baby memory should have fallen off the track and smashed on the floor, thereby giving us a good reason for why we can't remember baby stuff. Or how about a memory troll with 18 million hit points and infinite mana?
The movie already has an explanation for that. At one point, Joy sees some mine workers grabbing some memories that have faded and throwing them in the abyss where they disintegrate. So that's where the baby memories go.
that's fear. He's really good at keeping Riley safe.
At that age, Riley would have ran right over that power cord and wouldn't have given two shits about it.
Are you unaware that kids don't like stepping on the lines whenever they walk on sidewalks? Or when they walk over painted lines on the road? Plus, after stepping on it, she still runs the wagon over it, which knocks over the lamp.
Also, movie steals its entire premise from Herman's head.
So I take it it's not okay for two pieces of media to have similar premises? Because I think that's fine, as long as they have different stories. I mean, both James Bond and Mission Impossible are spy franchises. Should we call one of them a ripoff of the other?
It's broccoli! Yucky!
How did this child's brand new emotions know they hate broccoli, let alone what it even is?
Why are you assuming this scene is the very first time Riley has had broccoli? What evidence is there to support this?
This is disgust. That's anger.
Okay, so far we have joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. And that's it. The rest of the movie. No love, no loyalty, no competitive spirit, no logic, no...
You could assign any of those to the 5 emotions already here, like love could belong to joy or competitive spirit to anger. And besides, Pixar doesn't want to overwhelm the audience with too many emotions, so they have to simplify it as much as they can.
Riley, if you don't eat your dinner, you're not going to get any dessert.
How is Anger already reading a newspaper about no dessert before Riley's dad said anything about it? Great newspaper, by the way, but we're still singing this because we're assholes.
That's actually a running joke throughout this movie, Anger reading newspapers that are relating to what's happening to Riley. And similar to the people who get mad at me for taking you guys seriously, it's a joke.
Well, I'm definitely on some kind of watch list now. Thanks, Pixar.
Oh, trust me. After you've been simping over teenage Emma Watson, you already are on one.
The islands of personality are what make Riley, Riley.
And we 5 main emotions with direct access to an action control board have no say in the matter whatsoever.
You know Joy created all those islands, right? They came from 5 core memories that were all made by Joy doing something. You know that, right?
Let's get those memories down the long term.
Damn, that is a lot of long-term memory she's supposedly going to hold on to forever.
What's your point?
Apparently this is the first time Riley is noticing the house going up for sale, or given any warning they're going to move.
No, it's just a bunch of cuts to help the audience understand why they're upset, and doing it as fast as possible.
Also, Pixar dips into the Toy Story well for a cheap family is moving plot starter.
Except Toy Story was all about getting to the moving van before it even leaves, while this is about what happens after the move.
Neither apes nor mutants are attacking the Golden Gate Bridge in this scene.
Arbitrary movie references.
Riley clearly has no understanding of the real estate market in San Francisco, or she'd be freaking out over how much money her parents are going to earn when they flip this thing.
She's 11 years old.
The bed there, and the desk over there.
The hockey lamp goes there.
Put the chair there.
Well, the trophy closet.
Over there.
Poster there.
Why would anger, sadness, fear, and disgust have some sort of weird say in how this room looks?
Why wouldn't they have any say?
What the heck is
Who
that?
puts broccoli on pizza?
Movie continues its assault on broccoli.
Says the guy who continues to whine about the logos in front of movies.
Movie does some kind of explaining that things are going weird with the memories and core memories and the emotions, but does such a poor job of it that I'm left thinking just about anything might happen, which is exactly the case.
That is literally all Jeremy says here. Like, you might have a good point here, but I can't tell because you don't elaborate on what you're talking about. You just expect people to accept this answer just because you said so. And what's weirder is that you're saying this over a scene where sadness knocks one of the core memories out. So how is that an example of something weird is happening?
Come live with me, Riley.
Somebody order a broccoli pizza.
Hey, love this dream, but apparently dreams are mind-numbingly literal and directly reference things that happen during the day.
Have you never dreamed before? That is literally what happens.
I'm organic.
Eat Me, I'm Organic is my new pickup line.
Okay, even if CinemaSins is supposed to be funny, they can at least tell funny jokes.
Let's make sure that all the sadness stays in the circle.
Sadness imprisonment.
I swear, when I mentioned Inside Out and Joy's character flaw in my Cars 3 video, that was not meant to be a good segue into this video.
Since we moved?
Well, crying on your first day of school while introducing yourself to your classmates is basically the worst day of school ever. Way to go, slack-ass emotions.
Says they're slacking while showing them trying to remove the memory that's causing Riley to be sad.
You're not in headquarters. Without you, Riley can't be happy.
Apparently she can't be sad either because you're also not there, but that's something we'll gloss over.
Yeah, that's true, but why is that a sin? Sadness doesn't bring it up because she believes herself to be worthless and that Joy is the only one who can fix this. This is proven wrong by the end of the movie.
See, this is the problem with choosing 4 negative emotions and only 1 positive one as the 5 main Riley emotions. She's constantly going to be fighting for any scrap of happiness. Also, this is why you don't make 4 of your 5 core emotions negative ones.
Double dipping.
Won't it be great to be back out on the ice?
Here's an interesting quandary the movie is in at this point. Supposedly, Joy and Sadness are in a place where they're physically stuck until they can figure out how to get back to headquarters. But what if her parents suddenly moved back to Minnesota? She reunited with all her friends and everything went back to normal. Would a magic vacuum enter Riley's head and suck them back into headquarters?
No.
Unfortunately for Joy and Sadness, they just happened to be walking across the Goofball Island Bridge at the very moment it decided it was going to collapse.
Okay. So?
Training from the Prometheus School of Running Away from Things actually helps these emotional gals.
Wait, are you suggesting they should run to the left or right, which would cause them to fall into the abyss? This might be the second worst use of the Prometheus School of that I've ever seen. Multiverse of Madness is the worst, in case you're wondering.
Phone numbers. We don't need all these. They're in her phone.
This movie is genuinely clever, and we love it, so take our sins as a function of us just being dumb gorillas. But Riley is a millennial, and it's doubtful she ever memorized phone numbers. This is more of a joke for people in their 30s, who grew up memorizing numbers, but when the cell phone age began, suddenly didn't have to.
Did you guys hear that? Jeremy just said that these sins are them being dumb gorillas. I'm just wondering, why is that fun? You're literally admitting some of these sins don't make sense, and that means it's okay now?
You know, Riley definitely ain't happy here, but isn't she kinda happy singing this song? She's definitely not disgusted, scared, or angry, so...
This song still came from a joyful memory, though. Notice how it's colored yellow like joy?
Hey, stay happy.
How do these emotions stay happy?
By not doing anything.
The joy? The joy?
How does news about the various emotions travel outside of headquarters to imaginary friends or employees of a human head? Is that the weirdest thing I've ever written? Yes, it is.
No, you've written weirder. And are you saying Bing Bong shouldn't know who Joy is? If I had to guess, they're probably born with this information.
Just want to be clear, the imaginary friend inside of Riley's head just sprained his leg?
Yes.
Walk! We're not walking. We're taking the train of thought.
Movie just keeps inventing ways out of the bullshit scenarios it puts its characters into.
Except the train of thought was already shown earlier in the movie when it dropped off daydreams to HQ for Riley to see during school hours.
How is Riley talked into playing hockey again? Especially since she's completely shut down since Joy left headquarters.
Anger, fear, and disgust most likely wanted Riley to join so they can act like everything is normal until Joy gets back.
Riley's dreams are truly the weirdest thing ever, because they're all based on earlier events. Does she ever have that dream where she's trying to get somewhere, but no matter how far she travels, she never gets any closer?
Double dipping again, since you already mentioned this earlier.
It's broccoli.
God damn, I know it's common for kids to dislike vegetables, but this assault on broccoli is offensive. That is delicious and nutritious.
Do you believe the movie itself is saying this? Or is it saying that just Riley believes this?
Instead of lifting up the balloon cage, Joy tries to do this. I mean, we see her do this with a different balloon down here, so it's not like balloons are super heavy in this place.
Except the bottom of this cage has balloons down there too, blocking Bing Bong from escaping, so this is the only way to get him out.
Honesty Island crashes into the train of thought, and so the train gets derailed. But doesn't she still have a train of thought about running away? If we're making physical representations of abstract things, does this mean she's not thinking anymore? Am I overthinking this? I'm pretty sure I am, but it's amazing how convenient all these physical interruptions are to the plot.
No, I'd say the train of thought name was given to this train because Pixar thought it sounded fun. It delivers ideas to HQ. It doesn't seem to be what we think of when we think train of thought.
Well, what would have happened if it had missed and just fallen? Can emotions die? See, look how convenient it all is. You say, who cares? It's a kid's movie about the inside of a brain. But I say, I care, damn it, because cheap tension does not equate as real tension.
Well, whoever says that is an idiot, because excusing stuff like this by saying it's a kid's movie is really lame. I don't see how this is cheap tension, though, since they almost fell down into the abyss. As for the question, can emotions die? I personally don't think so. If they had fallen, Joy and Sadness would have been stuck down there forever. But it's not a question the movie needs to answer.
Joy is a dick. In Brainland, this is basically manslaughter.
That's exactly the point. Joy's characterized as someone who pushes sadness away before she eventually realizes that way of thinking is wrong. I'd agree with this sin if Joy never learns this lesson, but she does, so you get the sin here.
I mean, see? There's an unseen villain at work in this movie. Something that knows Joy is trying to get back to headquarters, but is doing everything in its power to keep her from doing so. Is it the Nothing? I think it's the Nothing.
Or that villain is Anger's idea to tell Riley to run away and get on a bus back to Minnesota. That might have something to do with this supposed randomness. Is it too hard for you to pay attention?
And now that Joy has fallen down here with Bing Bong, it means it's a harmless fall, because this movie is not going to kill Joy, which then undercuts the earlier cheap tension train bullshit even further.
Why do you think death is the only stake here? Sure, Joy doesn't die here, but her falling down the abyss prevents her from getting back to HQ, which prevents her supposedly helping Riley stop running away and get back to her parents. Just because she doesn't die, that doesn't mean there's suddenly no tension.
How could this kid have forgotten this first day of school sadness in the few days since it happened? That's literally not possible.
The movie literally says it's possible though, since it goes through the recall tube and falls into the abyss. How are you denying that it's possible?
I could listen to her stories all day.
I guess this is a tear-jerking scene, but it doesn't really make sense if you consider how often the movie showed us these 5 emotions controlling Riley's actions. So the stories were probably made up by you assholes too. You flip-flop all over this movie from acting parental and protective of Riley to actually being Riley.
She probably means her own stories, and she just enjoys hearing Riley say them out loud.
I just wanted Riley to be happy.
And sadness wants her to be sad, and anger wants her to be... How could this have ended any other way? The deck was stacked against happiness from the start.
Again, that's something Joy has to accept. That's part of her arc of letting go of too much control over Riley and allowing the other emotions to do their part. How are you this bad at watching this movie?
Imaginary rocket wagon ex machina.
No, we literally saw this rocket being pushed down this abyss. Heck, the first time I saw this movie, I literally thought, just use the rocket to get out. What you should have said is Chekhov's imaginary rocket wagon.
Why is there a fucking ramp in the middle of all these forgotten memories? And it looks like it's a giant book. How the f did that get down here?
It most likely came from Imagination Land.
Imaginary hero sacrifices himself to save the mind cliche.
Why did you add the words imaginary and mind? Because if those words weren't there, you'd actually have a cliche there. But that sounds like something that's exclusive to this movie.
Why does he need to disappear all of a sudden? Also, why did he disappear so quickly? His hand evaporated as soon as they got down here, and now he's completely gone, but Joy's okie dokie. What's up with that? They fell into the forgotten at the same time, right?
This further supports my idea that emotions can't die, which I think makes perfect sense. Or even if she could die, I think it would take much longer than Bing Bong.
I'll try. Bing bong.
Sorry, I was getting sad about his death there, for real, but then she said his name again.
Yeah, I think that's just a you problem.
I reject this notion that sadness can just make every single one of these memories sad by just touching them. And if you tell me certain memories are going to be looked back upon with sadness just because of all the shit she's going through, then I'm going to tell you all these other memories on the higher shelf should be affected too. You can't just pick and choose that shit, yo.
How does that make any sense? Sadness didn't touch any of the higher memories, so they aren't sad. Your rebuttal to that potential critique is extremely weak.
Funny how all the other islands immediately crashed, but this one is staying up because family, I guess? If it's that strong, does its survival really depend on whether or not Riley gets on that bus?
I think that it'll fall off if Riley decides to never turn back. And this shows how powerful her connection to her family is. Dominic Toretto would be proud.
I am positive this is crazy.
Indeed, but that rainbow wagon rocket worked, so just get on with it already.
The rocket stuff was way more believable than this, though.
Well, we've been dicks to this movie, and this is the type of quality Pixar was hammering out almost every year until Disney decided to make them churn out sequels to everything. This is a return to form and will knock 2 sins off.
Sorry that I want to be petty, but the only reason this scene is so good is because of Joy's character arc of accepting that sadness is just as important as her, and you've been making some critiques about that. So I'm just confused that if you don't get those things, then how do you understand the weight of this scene?
Sorry.
Girl.
Okay. You're all probably mad at me for the previous sin, but tell you what, I'll remove a sin here, because yes, this scene is funny, and Jeremy himself has confirmed that this laugh is real.
This entire end credit sequence is inspired and awesome.
Dang it, another sin removal that I have to sin, because you played the wrong sound effect, making it sound like you added another sin.
okay? This is fine. We just need to go to our happy place.